Hey everyone, this is Carlos Casados with Hypnotherapy Breakthrough, and thanks for tuning in. It's been quite a while since I've done a live video, so um, I'm glad to be here, and it's about time. I've had this channel for a while, and for a little bit I was on a roll. I kind of did a few videos, and I think I'd like to pick that back up again. A huge value for me is really asking myself about relevance, what's important, um, and for me, that relevance relates to how can I be of value. Um, it's not really a question of worthiness or anything like that. I know that I have worth. Um, it's just I don't want to talk at a camera. I don't want to just throw ideas out there. I don't personally find that very helpful, and there's plenty of people to do that. I don't need to fill that gap. However, I do want to share the discoveries I've made along the way. I do hope that some of the things that I've gained will be of value to you and to others. So with that spirit in mind, I want to share what's been going on for me and what I've been learning, and I hope that you can find some value in it. I've titled this video Freedom from Belief. There's at least a couple of ways to take that, and I do enjoy playing with words and language, because I think that language shapes the way we perceive things. It's sort of a frame that contains ideas in it, and so we take a look at that to have freedom from belief. One way of taking that is that beliefs can be traps. It's a trap. Be careful, right? Beliefs can hold you down. Beliefs can limit you, especially limiting beliefs, right? We've all heard that if you're in the coaching industry or you've had a coach ever in your life, this idea of limiting beliefs. That's one way to look at the title, to receive the title as kind of like, get away from them. Get away from those darn beliefs. They're going to attack you. They're going to hold you down. They're going to prevent you from being who you are, and they're limiting you. That's one way, and we'll talk about that in a moment. The other way to look at that is to just sort of flip it on its end and say freedom from beliefs, meaning deriving freedom from within the belief itself. Where have we seen that beliefs can be freeing? Where have you adopted a new belief that has taken you into a new place and allowed you to have a new view on life? Or shifting your belief has shown you that you could do something you didn't think you could do. It's opened up possibilities and avenues for exploration. And so where have you derived freedom from your beliefs? There might be other ways to interpret it, but I'm not going to belabor the point. Let's talk about the idea of having freedom from the limiting power of beliefs. We all know that in a relationship, whatever relationship it is, but I'll just use the romantic relationship as an example. When people have beliefs that are conflicting, sometimes that's a problem, particularly in areas of emotional intimacy, right? Communication, shared values. If one person is in, let's say both parties are in love with one another, and there's a deep connection there, and one party is wanting to open up and deepen the connection and maybe share feelings or break the patterns they're in some way. And then the other person is kind of stuck, or seems to be stuck in the way things used to be. Many of us have experienced this or know someone who has. That person who's stuck, or we perceive as stuck, is kind of stuck in a set of beliefs that limits their behavior, limits their freedom, kind of puts a governor on their accelerator that closes the aperture on their range of effective ways of relating with their partner. And Many of those people, after seeking counseling, or whether that be with a professional or with a best friend or a trusted advisor, or maybe they went to a personal growth seminar, who knows? Or maybe they had some epiphany while doing plant medicines, who knows? There's a lot of possibilities for light to get in, right? But after struggling with their own darkness and this light comes in, they may experience this epiphany as kind of like a breaking of the shackles. Like they ended up shifting somehow in some way, and all of a sudden they feel that they have freedom from the belief. And that's a pretty cool feeling. It's profound. They shake stuff off their shoulder and they feel lighter, and they become capable now at this new vantage point to see all the things that they were missing before, perhaps even to see their partner in a whole new way. And there's a change of heart, and you know, it's beautiful. This is healing. This is a very important step when you can do that repeatedly in a relationship. Usually people stay together and they have a thriving relationship. There's a lot of opportunity for growth in that. I want you to consider for a moment, if you haven't already, that all beliefs are limiting. You can't have a belief without limiting in some way. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Where in your life has a limitation enabled you to connect more deeply into whatever it is that you're connecting to? A person, a job, a subject, like you're, diving into a subject, and, you kind of have to limit your attention away from the things that would distract you so that you can focus on what it is you're studying. So the limitation has value. I learned at some point this metaphor that I love. It's the idea of discipline and limitation within freedom. There's this kind of two poles, right? On the one end is freedom. Well, I don't know that any human being understands or experiences what true freedom is. I think we have relative freedom. Absolute freedom, true freedom, doesn't have any limitations, and you can't even. What would you perceive with if there were no limitations? But equally, chunking that down to more specific things, you take a group of people, and there's absolutely no rules, no guidelines, no limitations whatsoever. You can have a situation of aggression and chaos and the breakdown of people not knowing who to follow or whether they should follow anything, and they feel lost, and there's no development because there's nothing to push against and there's really nothing to strive for. You need a little bit of both. You got to be able to push against things, and you got to be able to move towards things. That's just how human beings grow. And at different stages of development, you need away from and towards actions and motivations. So this limitation, or the lack thereof, can be a problem. The flip side of that is that you can be so controlled, so limited, that there's thought control. You're not allowed to have a different opinion. So many rules that it's hard to even keep track of them all. It's easy to have infractions happen. And then, of course, you have to have punishments and, exclusions and things like that. So the extremes of those are usually a problem. So then what are we talking about then when someone says, hey, I've got these limiting beliefs, I want to work on that, I want to open myself up? We're really looking at problems, because people don't really usually seek help unless there's a problem. So you could ask yourself, where in my life am I doing something that I would rather not be doing? And where in my life am I not doing something that I really feel that I ought to be doing? All right, so by looking at the problem, it stimulates us to want to make a difference. We want to change something. And that's what change work's all about. Finding that structure within the problem so that we understand what exactly are these conditions in this problem, you know? In other words, what makes it a problem? When is it not a problem? What triggers it? These are the active questions that come into play. I'm not here to suggest that looking at the problem is all of it, but it starts there. It's what stimulates growth in a group. It's what stimulates growth and change within an individual. It's always the problem and the seeking of a solution that causes a systemic change or a personal change. And my recent diving into and studying systemic work has added a tremendous amount of value to the NLP and the hypnotic work that I do, because it's a way of looking at life that helps you to frame things in a very, very empowering way, recognizing our place within systems, within other systems, within other systems, and so on. Recognizing that there's what is within us, that lives within us, and how we might see that reflected outwardly in our perceptions of our environment. And then there is legitimately what exists outside of us, you know, other people, other points of view, other paths. And so we usually call that the systems that we are in. So if a problem is showing up, we can start to ask ourselves, how is this problem showing up in such a way that it is actually a solution for something? It starts by actually acknowledging what it is. I want to give a lot of credit right now to one of my primary teachers in systemic work, which is Ivan Polic. So Ivan, thank you. I'm learning a great deal from these deep questions and different ways of framing beliefs and taking a look at where these beliefs are coming from and how we can utilize them without resisting them, but recognizing the desire to resist, right? These limitations, these beliefs that lock us in. So how can we derive freedom from the beliefs, whether or not the beliefs themselves are something that we enjoy or don't enjoy? That part can sometimes be irrelevant, because you can allow a problem to be grist for the mill, to use a term that Ram Dass used. In other words, how is the problem actually a solution, and how are the things that you're dealing with fuel for something powerful or empowering to you? I would like to suggest that taking a look at your beliefs and understanding that all beliefs are limiting, and that limitation can be experienced as positive or negative, depending on your circumstances, can open up a deeper set of questions for you, a deeper set of learnings that you could tap into. It starts by acknowledging, by recognizing what it is, by dropping into the problem, by checking out the boundary conditions, by maybe reframing the problem as also a solution, by looking at, well, by the very nature of the conditions which I'm calling a problem, I can define these boundaries, which means by my ability to define these boundaries, there must be something beyond it, because there's the awareness of my experience, which is creating a shape. How can you create a shape without something to put the shape in? The concept of a shape of this problem must therefore be smaller than my capacity to experience. Therefore, what is beyond the problem? Well, all one need do is tap into a memory of a time where this problem wasn't a problem, or foresee a foreseeable future where this problem isn't a problem, is it? And as you're there, asking yourself, how do I know this isn't a problem? Tapping into the physiological experience of what it's like to feel free, to even tap into the experience of being able to look back at a potential past self wherein that problem was a problem, recognizing that you're outside of that now, feeling acceptance, forgiveness, appreciation for having moved past it, because without that problem in your past, you wouldn't be able to look back at it. Therefore, it was absolutely crucial that you looked at the problem as a solution, acknowledged the problem fully and completely, and allowed yourself to be exactly where you are now, because you have always been this future now, haven't you? Yeah. Fancy word games, language, linguistic stuff. Absolutely. But think about it. Really. And more importantly, ask yourself the question until you actually experience it this way. So I'm not offering any specific solution, only the solution that exists inside of the question itself. What questions may you ask yourself that might presuppose an answer in asking it? This is the nature of change work. It's informed by NLP and by other qualities that exist, but it's just good sense. There's a problem. There's a definition of a problem. There's that which is outside the problem. There are resources outside this problem right now, which are available to be applied to that part of you which was once trapped within an idea. So the problem that you thought was a problem wasn't really a problem. It was just the way you were thinking about that problem that was the problem. So what's the problem? Thank you. Thanks for listening. I invite your comments, your questions. Love to deal with that and to connect with you. Once again, this is Carlos Casados with Hypnotherapy Breakthrough. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this topic and in any other topic that might be related to it. I do plan on connecting more in the future. This has kind of been the beginning of that reinstatement of my YouTube channel. So thanks again for helping me get it started. You're a part of this very much. If you like the video, like it. All right. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.